Understanding frames is one of the most important skill sets you can have in marketing, sales, life, business, relationships. I really don't care what it is. This is arguably the number one skill and thing to understand in life because it dictates not only how your business performs, but how you engage in life and how you interact with people and build the world that you want. This really is the secret to building the life that you always wanted. And I don't want to sit here and do all this woo-woo stuff, so I'm going to be as tactical as humanly possible, but I genuinely mean this when I say, if you understand how to effectively use frames in your life, not only in your business, but in your life, you can do whatever you want. And so in this video, we're going to break down what frames are. We're going to break down some of the common traps I see, specifically in the marketing and sales space, but I'll do some direct correlation to real life. And then the most important and best frames to hold inside of your organization to drive up show rates, increase conversion rate on your marketing material, marketing assets, and really just grow the business as a whole. So number one, what are frames? All frames are is the lens with which you view the world. For example, if I grew up in a house where everybody worked a regular job, I would view entrepreneurship as something very, very difficult. My frame in regards to entrepreneurship is, oh, this would be very hard. Whereas if I grew up in a household of only entrepreneurs, I would view entrepreneurship as being very, very easy. Now, objectively, it is the same thing. Entrepreneurship, starting a business, does not change in either situation. You still have to do the same activities, perform the same tasks, take the same level of risk. But the frame with which you view the task now dictates how easy it comes to you. And that is what a frame is. Not only is it the lens with which you view the world, but it is also the rules for engagement between two people. What do I mean by this? Let's say you have to deliver really harsh feedback to somebody, or you've got to tell somebody something bad, like, oh, your girlfriend's cheating on you. You don't want to just go into that conversation and go, hey man, your girl's cheating on you with so-and-so. No, because think about how much of a reaction you get from that other person. Instead, you want to set a good frame beforehand. And you would say something like, hey man, you mind if I talk to you for a second? Like, can you take a seat? I have something that's not going to be the most fun to talk about. And honestly, I don't want to deliver this at all to you, but I feel like I have to. Is that the best frame to set? No, but it softens the blow a ton. And what is that? That's just the rules for engagement that you set before the conversation happens. In sales, a great example of this is going, oh, it's going to be really expensive. You set this frame of, oh, this is going to be this super high price thing. And then when you come down and you drop the price, even though it's expensive, because in their head, whatever they thought was expensive came to mind, they go, oh, this isn't so bad. So that's all a frame is. Again, is it's the lens with which you view the world and the rules for engagement in any situation, any organization. And so that's basically what a frame is. Now, what are some common situations that we can see frames being used? This is another part that I think is important to understand because frames can objectively be spun in a lot of different ways. Number one is how you treat other people. If we look at, and I'll kind of bridge into the common traps, but one of the most common ones, and the reason that this topic was brought to my attention is I was on a consulting call today and I was looking through show rate sequences. And as I read them, it was a lot of reply yes to confirm, make sure you're ready for this to do that, do this for that. Okay, here's your link. And it was very selfishly driven. It came from a frame of selfishness. Now, that does not serve anybody. If I'm selfish and I'm trying to sell somebody, they know that. They know I'm just trying to get their money. I feel like a salesperson. It's not enjoyable. Whereas if I switch that frame from instead of being selfishly driven follow-up and reminder sequences, etc., and I go to more of a we care about you type of situation, like, hey man, I want to make sure we get the most out of our call together. Like, how do you want to book? Just so I know, I'm going to send you some assets that you can prepare with. Again, do I claim to be the best salesperson? No. But what I do know is it makes a big, big difference. If you were to book a consulting call with me or book an agency call with me, the number one thing I'll do is I will personally text you and say, hey, I saw you booked a call. Was just curious, what is it you wanted to cover? And are there any resources or assets you want me to look over beforehand? That way we can make the most of our 60 minutes together. Notice the difference there. Whereas if I just said, cool, here's a payment link, I'll see you on Monday. It's like you don't give a shit about the other person. And it's just the frame with which you view the engagement. And so there's that side of things. Frames is also the lens with which you view your own reality. Frames are really the backbone of power dynamics. So a great example I love to use is, let's say a girl and guy in a bar, a very, very common situation. And guy starts talking to girl asks guy, how old are you? Notice the difference in the two scenarios I'm about to explain. Oh, I'm 24. Versus, how old are you? Well, why do you want to know? Well, this. Oh, well, I'm 24. Immediately, if you look at those two scenarios, the guy that answers 24 immediately is in this girl's world. She holds all the power now. Whereas the guy who pushes back says, well, why do you want to know? Joking around, that type of banter. He still maintains control over that conversation. It's like a sales rep in a conversation. They're constantly asking questions. The second that you begin to answer the other person's questions and they start to dictate the conversation, well, then you lost frame of that engagement. And you're probably going to lose the sale because he's bitching you around essentially. And so that is why frames are so, so important. So what are the most common traps that we see in sales and marketing as a whole? Number one, selfishness. Selfishness is a huge problem and causes all of your metrics to collapse. Just like I explained earlier, if your follow-up or your reminder sequences are very selfishly driven, people don't like that. It doesn't show that you care. You don't look any different than everybody else. It's just sending the basic ass reminders. Whereas like I talk about in other videos, this is something I learned from Jeremy Haynes. I haven't gotten to implement this a ton, but selfie videos. Hey, just saw you booked a call. I want to make sure before we hop on, is there anything that you were curious to learn more about, or was there a specific reason? I want to be able to send you any good resources or productive assets that we have so that, again, we can make the most of our 60 minutes together. So like I said, looking forward to talking to you, and let me know if you have any questions. Boom. That is so different than just reply yes. So that's the number one trap, is a selfish frame. The number two trap, which is a huge problem, is the frame in which people view you. So what most people don't think about, and specifically, I don't know why this is causing me to go insane recently, but all these growth operators on social media, my God, do you all look the same? Every single one of you looks the exact fucking same. So what do you think that person views you as? What is the frame that they view you as? Oh, he's another Miami bro that doesn't know how to run a real business, so he helps people sell courses. What do you think you look like when you flex your cars online? Look at my fucking nice car. Yeah, it's cool to have it in there every once in a while, but if every photo is you in a car, every photo is your watch, if every photo, every video is something about your fancy ass lifestyle, but you don't look any different than anybody else, you look like everybody else in the industry. It's like bread scales blew up and now there's just 60 replicas of the guy. Get fucked. You just set a horrible frame with which people view you. The lens with which people view you is horrible. You don't look any different. You want to be the liquid death of your industry. I didn't know liquid death was still water for a long time. And now I will never forget that it's still water once I had it at a rodeo. It makes a massive difference. And so it's not only, again, the lens with which you communicate, but the frame with which you're perceived. And that's the other one, is make sure you look the part. That's a key one. Again, care about the other person. Don't be selfish. Actually look the part. That's another huge thing. Show proof. Show competence. Remember, you've got to understand how these frames work. When you're on sales calls, you want to make sure that people are always coming into your hoop, not you jumping out of your hoop and going into theirs. That's how you lose. Whoever maintains frame in a conversation wins. Now, it's supposed to shift naturally, but if you're in a sales environment, it is very important that you understand and maintain frame throughout the entire thing. Here's another great example of how frames can be used. I saw this on a podcast with Jason Fladlin and Cole Gordon. If you don't follow either of those guys, I encourage you to go check them out. But one of the things that Jason will do before, or this may have been Pace Morby, I can't remember, before a webinar, is he has someone introduce him. That's literally it. Think about the kind of frame that sets when somebody just introduces you on a webinar. A significant difference. You don't have to change a thing except that one little engagement. Oh, Jason's going to be on in 5 minutes, blah, 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 blah. Again, I don't remember how he did it. I've never done this before myself, but I saw that and was like, that's genius. Because he's setting a good frame beforehand. Again, you want to be actively thinking about how you're perceived and how much you care about the other person. I think the big trap that I really want to get at here, because as I move through this, I realize it's a lot simpler than I may have initially thought when coming up with this video. Again, a lot of this stuff's off the cuff. But the big thing is you got to stop being selfish. Nobody gives a shit that you want to make money. Nobody cares. Nobody. Not a single person. Nobody cares how much money you make. Nobody cares about anything except what you can do for them. That is it. And that is why you need to show caring. That's why you need to care about the other person more. You don't matter. Other people matter. That is the most important frame that you need to hold when running a business or selling anything, is that your people and your consumers matter more than you do. And that should be something that your entire organization understands. Now, obviously there's nuance to this, but you have to be putting the other person in the forefront of your mind in order to drive the organization forward. What I hate is if you are a leader or you are selling somebody something and you have a bunch of your employees that are helping you move towards a goal. There's two ways you can do this. You can sit in the back with your little king crown on and whip them into shape so that they move. But then what happens? They go back and they resent you. Or you can do the other way and you can lead and you can show them that you care more about them than you do yourself. So you're going to take on the brunt of the work. How do you think people react to that frame? It's completely different. The number one trap is you being selfish. Don't be selfish in your follow-up. Think about the other person. Think about what the other person wants to see. Think about what would get them to go, oh my God, this guy is so much better than anybody else around me. And he clearly wants to help. Think about that. Once you've done that, I was going to go into the best frames to hold, but I'd rather pivot this in terms of just ways to think about this going forward. Is in everything in your business, I want you to list out the rules for engagement. What rules for engagement do you currently have in your sales conversations, in your team meetings, in your marketing material, on your webinars, your call funnels? What are the rules for engagement? Once I've listed those out, meaning I want people to come prepared, I want people to know that we care, I want them to make sure they know we're going to make an offer at the end of the webinar. Once you list out all of the rules for engagement that you know that you want people to have when engaging with you in your business, you can then weave these in to your sales and your marketing material based on where it needs to occur. Again, if you want to make it known that you're going to make an offer at the very beginning of the webinar, great. Now there's a rules for engagement for the entire thing. If you want to show people that you care, great. Ask questions. Show that you care before the call. Don't just let them show up. If you want people to come prepared, explain to them why. Set frame as to why. And so this video, a little all over the place. Hopefully it comes across concise, but the big thing I want to emphasize is I want you to look at your business objectively. and say, do I show up in a way for both my team and my organization that tells them and shows them that I put more effort into them, I care about them more? If you don't, if there are areas where you know it's lacking or there's resentment, that means you have not set a good frame. So make sure that that is set effectively. Show your team that you care about them more than yourself, and you're willing to sacrifice a lot for these people, because they'll do the same. People reciprocate when they see that they're being cared for. Same thing goes for your prospects and your clients. And so there wasn't a ton of direction in this video, but if you're looking to get a bird's eye view as to what you're currently doing, like I said, this video is inspired by a call I had today on the consulting side where we caught something in this follow-up sequence. If you're looking to get another set of eyes on your organization, on your business, you're running paid ads, there's gonna be a link below. You can book a call to speak with myself or a member of the team about either consulting or helping you on a done-for-you basis. Run your ads, scale your organization, take your business to that next level with high-level marketing skills. The big thing, again, is just making sure that you're very aware of the frames being set inside of your organization, pre-meeting, post-meeting, all that fun stuff. And like I said, not the most concise video I've ever made, but if this helps, if you want to see more content like this, drop a comment below, like this video, let me know what you think, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.